Hello, wrestling fans. What is session 4? What is session 4? Absolutely. Are you not entertained? I am. I'm very entertained. And I'm going to get into stats for Iowa through session 4. 29-13 overall. That right there is a good record in the NCAA tournament. They have 7 All-Americans. 7. I was expecting not that. We'll say that. And they had 9 wrestling on Friday night. 9 wrestlers wrestling on Friday night. Like I said at the end of my last video, Iowa Hawkeye fans cannot ask for much more. And they went 7-5 in session 4. Good stuff. Let's get into team scores. At the end of session 4, Penn State has 153 points with 8 All-Americans. We'll get into how many they have in the finals. Oklahoma State, 111.5 in second place. Third place, Nebraska, 90.5, 7 All-Americans. Fourth place, Iowa, 81 points, 7 All-Americans. Fifth, The Ohio State University, with 77.5 points with 5 All-Americans. Underperformance for Ohio State Buckeyes. Session 5 is going to be interesting for the team race. I'm going to get into that after I'm done with this video. I've got it paused. I'm going to watch it all. And once I'm done watching it, you will get a finals preview, as well as freaking giving these All-Americans their flowers. Stanford, 58 points with 4 All-Americans. They've had one hell of a tournament. One hell of a tournament. Stanford. Most impressive team. Yeah, you can. I mean, Penn State's expected. Okay? They're always impressive. All right? All right. You know, and then after that, you know, it's Oklahoma State, Iowa, Stanford. Nebraska has wrestled their tails off. They're doing it again. They're going for second. I don't know if they'll get it. I'll have to look at more of the team points after session 5 is over to see where they're at. But also, Iowa State in 7th with 52 points. And they've, I would say as a team, have underperformed in my eyes. And UNI, I think they only had 9.5 points in the tournament. They had 2 in the blood round, Farber and Downey, and both of them lost. And they got no All-Americans, which, yeah. I was hoping Dougie Schwab and the crew, the Panther train, would get something. And they did get something. Farber wrestled well. I was really hoping Ryder Downey would pull it out. Didn't end up happening. So, without further ado, we start at 125 pounds in session 4. And our semifinals for Spratley and Lillidahl and Moran and McGowan. Lillidahl handled Spratley for the most part. The second takedown that he had was very reminiscent of Spencer Lee's takedown that he had against Tomasello and pinned him in the semifinals his freshman year. It reminded me of that. And Moran, McGowan got the last second takedown. Love to see that. No sudden victory at 1-1. And I do have stats on that. What did we come up with? There were 3 in the blood round, 1-1 sudden victories. And guess what? Eddie Ventresca was one of those. And he lost to V-Rob. V-Rob cracked the code. Got it done to be All-American. I've said it, and I'll say it again. Eddie Ventresca, that type of wrestling will come to bite you in the butt. So much so that no All-American status because of it. I'm putting it at Ventresca. I'm not being personal. I'm just saying that's why you lose matches. And it's why you win matches too. So Who am I to speak? V-Rob and Volk got together. See who goes for 7th and 8th. V-Rob won. Provo, Klinsky got together. Klinsky lost. So it's Volk and Klinsky for 7th and 8th. And Dean lost to Klinsky in the blood round. Yeah, it was just upsetting to see Dean go out like that, especially the way they did on the last second takedown, essentially. I'll have to go back and look at his paths that he had previously in other nationals tournaments, but I would go as far as to say that could arguably be the easiest path that he had in order to get to All-American status. So, without further ado, we go to 133 pounds. Okay, in the semifinal, we had Jax Forrest wrestling Aaron Seidel. And Jax Forrest is so fun to watch, and so is Aaron Seidel. They're both just scrapping out there. Jax Forrest is just, in every single position. Jax Forrest is insane. He's insane. Okay? And, yeah. Won that match 14-3. There was a ton of amazing chain wrestling going on in that match. Jax Forrest is an absolute animal and an absolute pleasure to watch wrestle. Action, 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 action. All the freaking time, no matter where you're at. That's what we love to see. And Ben Askren had mentioned this in a video that he had, but he's good. He's on his way to be the best ever. Arguably. He really is. Davino and Blaze met up again, and they went to 1-1 sudden victory. Who guessed that? Who guessed that? But I will say, Davino, I believe, if he continues to wrestle rather than look at the ref and say, I got the takedown. No. Wrestle. Stop looking at the ref to see if you got get the takedown. And I think he did have a takedown. That's just what I thought. At the same time, there really wasn't much control. A lot of rolling around. But if Davino would have continued to wrestle to the end of that, rather than looking at the ref, Knox beat Larkin in the blood round to All-American. I was surprised by that. When we get to 157, Larkin at 157 also did not All-American. He lost to Catrabone. So I found that to be quite interesting. Farber and Bird got together, and Bird won that 5-4. He's a 4-time All-American. Freaking impressive. Van D beat Baker. Drake Ayala beat Leet from American. Yeah, beat him pretty good from what I remember. He was up 6-2. And he used Drake Ayala's limp arm is one of the best in the game that I've seen. Especially when he's around on that seatbelt, the guy's got a whizzer in. He's just so slick with it. Okay? His second match, he met up with Bird, and he absolutely whooped him. He absolutely whooped it. And Drake looks so happy. Drake looks so free. I love to see it. Especially given the beginning of his year was rough. And at the end of the year, he turned it on. And I'm just happy for freaking Drake Ayala. One of my favorite Hawkeyes ever, arguably. He was going for bonus at the end of the Bird match. He won 11-4 or 10-4. Love that for Drake Ayala. Love that. 3-time All-American Drake Ayala. And I would go as far as to say if Spencer had not gotten hurt, I don't know what year that would have been for him, but Drake Ayala had to go 125 that year and maybe got thrown out there a bit too early. At the same time, I believe he got to the blood round his freshman year. So, I mean, he was ready. It's just, I'm going to go ahead and say if he would have held on to that red shirt, quite possibly a 4-time All-American we got right there for the Iowa Hawkeyes. But 3-time All-American, look at me. Look at me. Jeez. 141, the semi was Hardy versus Vega. Great match. And especially at the end. So it went into the third period 1-0. Vega took neutral. Vega got a takedown. Rode him for a little bit. Hardy got a reversal to make it 3-3. He cuts him immediately. Vega's got 1:05 of riding time, okay? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, just get the riding time down, let him up. But in reality, it doesn't matter. I think it was, take out the I think. I know it was the right decision to do what Brock Hardy did there. Because who's to say that you're going to ride Vega for a minute, which is what was left in the match, first off. And then what's the point of getting the riding time down if you're just going to get a takedown and it won't matter anyway? So Hardy cutting Vega was the right call. And the scramble at the end, Hardy almost got the takedown. It's hard to take down Vega. It's hard to. And Vega has yet to be taken down. Still, I think that's true, and that's impressive. And Bash had posted that Vega and Jax Forrest have the opportunity to be the first, I believe, don't quote me, the first true freshman to go undefeated throughout a season and win a national championship. Both of them. And they both wrestled for Oklahoma State. Both undefeated. Nuts. And Vega hasn't allowed a takedown. Phenoms. Oklahoma State's freaking coming for Penn State, and I love it. Mendez-Stanich was a great match as well. Stanich had great head and hands throughout the whole match. Great position throughout the whole match. Brought it to 1-1. And Mendez, you could tell in Mendez, he's just like, I'm getting it. And he went and got it. He ran right through Stanich like it was nothing. But where was that all match? I don't know. But it doesn't matter. It's a semifinal. And it's tough. It's tough when you get there. Okay, we're going to go to the backside. Nasir Bailey took an L to Wyatt Henson on the backside. In the third there, they were on the edge, okay, wrestling. And it seemed like Nasir he stopped wrestling. And he had his leg just hanging out there. Wyatt Henson took it up, and he basically had the takedown at that point. And Nasir was in trouble right away. And it was roughly with a minute to go in the third. And, yeah, Wyatt Henson got it done to become an All-American. Congratulations, Wyatt Henson. I just believe Nasir, if he just continues wrestling, I'm going to say he's most likely an All-American if he continues wrestling in that position. And it was a weird position, like a position where he had just fallen on his knee. So, yeah, maybe it's why it looked the way that it did, but that's just what I perceived when I saw the match. Echemendia beat Elijah Griffin for All-American status. Way to go, Cyclones. That's huge. The Cuban through. And I believe he has another year. So, it'll be nice to see Echemendia come back. Echemendia then wrestled Composto, beat him, so he's going for third this morning in session 5. And then Nogel beat Henson, so it'll be Henson and Composto in the 7th and 8th match at 141 pounds. 149 pounds, here we freaking go. We had ourselves 2 semis. That one was an absolute beatdown, where Van Ness beat Lamer 22-1. And notable, I love Shane Van Ness after each match and how he bows. I think it's a spectacular thing. A good respect to all of those involved, and I love watching it because take a frickin' bow, Van Ness. You're in the national finals, baby. Finally. Right? I don't think he's been there before. He got third last year. Yeah, I don't think he's been on the finals mat before. So happy for Shane Van Ness getting on the freaking elevated mat on Saturday night. Valencia and McNeil was a heck of a match. Valencia got up 3-1, 4-1 into the third, 7-1. He got another takedown. And then McNeil at the end he got a takedown. And then, yeah, Valencia pulled it out. Valencia has had himself arguably the best tournament out of all. 10 seed in the finals, baby. And that's the second 10 seed in the finals. McGowan and Valencia, both 10 seeds. Yeah. That's impressive. Aiden Valencia has always been capable. I've heard a lot about him. I got to admit, I pay attention lightly to high school. I care what they do in college. So, not to say that I don't care what they do in high school, because I do. That's where it begins. Okay, let's go to the backside. Colin Guy beat Joy. And it was in the third, but I had seen that someone was on their back on that mat, and I went to go and look, and Guy had him on his back with a trap arm, and got some back points. He was up 7-2, won that match. Frost and Wazalewski met in the blood round. Jacob Frost for Iowa State. And, yeah, it was 5-4, 7-5. Wazalewski got the takedown late. Won 9-5. It was a tough fought match. It was a great match. Jacob Frost lost in the blood round, did not All-American, which is unfortunate. I wanted to see him pull through. Ryder Block wrestled Carter Young, brought it to 1-1 sudden victory. The Hawks doing their thing there. He went and got the takedown though. And Ryder Block is an All-American. And I love that for him based on his season and how it's gone. He started out the season very tough. Even in the Big Ten championships, he had Shane Van Ness beat. He just wore out. So that was good to see. Ryder Block, All-American for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Okay? And then he wrestled Swiderski. And they got themselves into a 5-5 sudden victory based on a stall call on Block in the third. Went to sudden victory. And freaking Ryder got in on the single leg on the edge. And that man pulled that single leg all the way to the middle. I was like, hell yeah, Ryder Block. Hell yeah. It's what we love to see. And he finished it. You bring a single leg all the way back to the middle, and you ain't finishing it. They got really good defense for one, but two, like, man, your chances go up so much higher when you just pull that single leg all the way back in rather than just try and pull it in 3 steps and go. No, because then you're out of bounds. And then you can't pull it in again because they probably got their foot out on the edge of the mat trying to touch the whatever is not the mat. That way they can get a new start, okay? No, we pull that thing all the way back into the middle just like Ryder Block did. We love to see it. And then Guy and Wazalewski wrestled. See who goes for 6th and 7th, and Guy won that match. So it'll be Wazalewski and Swiderski in the 7th and 8th place match. 157 pounds. We had ourselves a time, didn't we? Hell yeah, we did. Robidoux and Duke was a hell of a match. 1-1 sudden victory. My thing was, I'm okay with this one because there was action, lots of action. Robidoux, great action in the sudden victory. Amazing action in the sudden victory. Almost had to take down both guys. And also, when they called a takedown for PJ, how do you call... Like, he's so strong and everything, and he was turning him like he was turning him. And sorry for what you're hearing about this freaking truck out here. It's loud as hell. But how do you call 3 there, ref? And then PJ is in a position where he can get the takedown, right? And the ref called it off. The ref said he just stopped the action completely. And like, what are we doing? Just so they could go challenge to see if it was a takedown, but it wasn't a takedown. There was nothing about that said any takedown. But if you let that wrestle through, who knows? Maybe there will be a takedown that comes out of that. So I think PJ did get let's say, slighted there. I think it, like, slighted, And then he went into tiebreakers. Rabadou took down, got out. No, he got a reversal. He went for the reversal, which is something I believe more wrestlers should look into, especially after Blaze did that to Davino, right? In the regular season. But Rabadou was not going for the escape. He wasn't. He did not. He was going for the reversal, straight up. And he got it. He freaking got it. And then Duke took neutral, and that's match, baby. Rabadou into the final. That was a heck of a match. And I was cheering for Rabadou. All by myself in my RV. But it was amazing. Hell of a match. Taylor and Waters was a good match too. Taylor went and got it, baby. I really like Antrell Taylor. He's a little boring for my liking, but he's so strong and very good positionally. It's the way he wrestles. It's the way these guys wrestle. That's what I've come to the conclusion with my freaking sudden victory 1-to-1s. As much as I dislike it, it happens. These kids are great. These kids are the best in the nation. These kids are the best in the nation. Those matches are bound to happen, and they're not all incredibly boring, although I would love to see points scored, I will admit. Mentioned this earlier, but Catcherbone over Larkin. All-American for Cam Catcherbone. I've always enjoyed watching him wrestle this year. Every time I get to watch him wrestle, he creates action all the frickin' time. Love it. Cannon Webster, All-American. I forget who he beat to do that. Brandon Cannon over Swisher to All-American. Brandon Cannon has had a gutsy performance this Nationals. Shapiro over Cardenas to All-American. And then Shapiro wrestled Webster, lost 8-1 to Webster, which I found to be surprising. Catcherbone and Cannon got together, and Cannon won that match 4-3. So it'll be Catcherbone and Shapiro for 7th and 8th, which should be an exciting match. 165 pounds, baby. 165 pounds, baby. Mikey frickin' Caliendo keeps the final streak alive, baby. The Iowa final streak is alive, and I'm sure everyone but Iowa fans dislike that. But Mikey Caliendo keeps it alive, baby. Huge in the takedown and sudden victory. We love to frickin' see it. And that was a great match. And the way that he got that first takedown where he put Blaze in a cradle, the way that he did, it's just not often that you see something like that. But Mikey Caliendo does it. And, after the Mikey had so much juice in him. He was so pumped, as he should be. He just freaking, got redemption on a guy that beat earlier in the year. And really, he beat him down better than what the score showed, because they did not give him a takedown in the first period of that match. Him being Blaze. So, but hell of a match by both Blaze and Caliendo. Love to see Caliendo do what he did. And he'll have Mitchell Messenbrink, who got a tech fall in 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Man, I hope Caliendo can give him a match. That's what I'm looking for tonight. But Mikey Caliendo, I love you, man. So fun to watch. Okay, Downey and Hepner got together in the blood round, and Hepner ended up winning that match. Good job, Hepner. Good job. And I am in North Carolina now, so Hepner, I was cheering for you, but not against Ryder Downey. My roots are in Iowa, in northern Iowa specifically. I saw many bouts, many duels in the West Gym with my father growing up, and honestly, one of the best duel experiences in West Gym, telling you. And Mike McMullen, who's on the Matt cast with Shane Sparks, had mentioned from the stretcher to the podium. which I found to be funny because Hebner did have a stretcher taken out for him in the Mess and Brink match just to go back out onto the mat, which was odd. Sparks beat Ladarian Lockett to get to the blood round. That was something notable for me. And Sparks All-Americans. He beat Will Denny. His path to All-American. And I'm happy for Andrew Sparks. That's amazing. He's always been tough. And he's always been, he's just always been tough. Not necessarily the most exciting wrestler, but always been tough. I'm happy that he All-Americaned. Good job for Sparks. Hebner and Ruiz got together. I believe Ruiz won that match. Don't quote me. Sparks was ahead 7-0 in the second on Gallagher, so I imagine it's going to be Gallagher and Hebner for 7th and 8th. I don't know. I got it paused waiting for me. And I'll watch it all. And you guys will get a freaking finals preview. As well as giving the flowers to the All-Americans. That's what we're all here for. Okay? To see these kids go and get what they've earned. And they all want to get to the final. There's only 2 people that get that out of each weight class, out of the 33 wrestlers in each weight class. You can't all have it. But you know what? You can get the next best thing. And that's what these guys are doing here. All right. 174 pounds. Patrick Kennedy got his butt whooped. 10-3 is the last score that I saw. It very well could have been worse than that. I'm just happy PK is an All-American. Truly. And I'm curious to see what he does in Session 5. It's good. Like, PK is one of my favorite Iowa Hawkeyes. Just the way he wrestles, he's freaking tough. You know what you're getting with Patrick Kennedy when you step on the mat with him. It's freaking hard ties, relentless pressure. You know what you're getting from PK. So, good for him. Hope he does well this morning in Session 5. Minto and Steed was a pretty good match from what I remember. I didn't watch much of it. I was watching a lot of the blood rounds during this time. But yeah, Minto pulls out the win. That makes me happy for him. Minto down at 165. I didn't know who this freaking kid was at all. And he did what he did at 165 last year. Very impressive. And then up at 174 this year. I don't know how he wrestled 165 pounds. Minto looks freaking huge. Truly. Ruiz and Karchla met in the blood round where Karchla beat Ruiz. And Simon Ruiz is not an All-American. And Karchla looked damn good. Impressive, really. As I've mentioned previously, I've always believed that Karchla was hurt. He doesn't look it. Mantanona and Singleton met, and Mantanona pulled out that victory in blood round to become an All-American for the Michigan Wolverines, 11-8. He beat Singleton, which is the 6th seed. I think Mantanona was the 5 at 174, if I remember correctly. And then Mantanona met with Karchla. Karchla beat him 10. Karchla's on a freaking roll, this guy. And MJ Gatan. I forgot to bring him up. He beat Kelly to All-American. Kelly from Illinois. And that makes me happy for MJ Gatan. I've always appreciated his wrestling. And then he had a crazy match with Wask, where it was 20-7, 20-9. Wask won that match, so MJ Gatan will meet Mantanona. They went to the same high school, I believe, back in high school, and they wrestle similar styles, and it's always a scramble, so that'll be interesting. And they're going to leave it all on the mat for 7th and 8th place at 174 pounds, y'all. I'm telling you. This is coming out a little late, but that's a match to watch. All right. 184 pounds. Guess what we got out of Angelo Ferrari? I bet you can take a wild guess as to what happened with Angelo Ferrari. I didn't even write down Welsh. I didn't. Because I knew what was going to happen up there too. But I was more paying attention to blood round matches. And Angelo And I knew what I was going to get. 1-1 sudden victories into tiebreakers. I knew exactly what I was going to get. Angelo, freaking, this is boring. This is boring. And Ben Askren did post a recap where one of his friends that was sitting next to him had mentioned, like, with both of their styles and how they are, like, Max McAnally is more of a re-attack guy, and Angelo doesn't attack. So that gets us to exactly where we went. Okay. 1-1 sudden victory. I said close but no takedown at the end, and it was close. I can't remember who was in, though. Ferrari caused a stall call. He did, and then, yeah, McAnally went down. He was out in 7 seconds with 1-0, and Ferrari went down, which I didn't understand that. And then when Ferrari was down and, like, he couldn't get out, he was complaining to the ref. Dude, we don't have time to complain to the ref in the semifinal in sudden victory tiebreakers. You don't have that time, Angelo Ferrari. You don't. Get out. Get a reversal. Get something other than just complaining on the mat. The time is The time is going down. You've already lost riding time. Go do something. Complaining is not going to do anything. I got really upset. If you can't tell, Angelo Ferrari continued to wrestle. And if you don't want to deal with these happenings in 1-1 tiebreakers, then go get a freaking takedown, dude. I don't care if people can get on your legs and not take you down. I understand. Everybody understands. Angelo Ferrari's defense is incredible. It is. It's amazing. Spectacular. Imagine if Angelo could go get a takedown. Who would beat him? I don't think anyone would. I don't think so. And Rocco's in the final. So, and I have McAnally beating Rocco in my brackets. I am cheering for Max McAnally. All right, let's go to the backside. Sinclair met Conway. Conway is not an All-American, but he met up with Aiden Sinclair. So, and honestly, yeah, Conway's not a 4 seed. Saldano and Campos met in the blood round, and that was a hell of a match. Went 6-6 into OT. Campos went and got it, 1-9-6. Ryder and Campos met up to see who goes for 7th and 8th. Zach Ryder. Hell of a tournament, dude. I've dealt with shoulder injuries, labrums. I don't know if that's what you're dealing with, dude, but absolutely lovely to watch you go through this tournament and get yourself All-American status. Amazing. And David Taylor and the coaching staff after Ryder got it in the blood round, they're just, so freaking pumped for Zach Ryder. And as they should be. All right, Knightenbach Sinclair. Sinclair was up 5-0 in the second. I'm going to go ahead and say Sinclair won that match. So it'll be Knightenbach and Ryder to go for 7th and 8th at 184 pounds. 197 pounds. We go to the semifinals, where Little met up with Merrill and Barr met up with Novak. Barr and Novak at the beginning. Novak was making it interesting. And then Barr does what Barr did. So it's 14-3 Barr, the ending of that, I believe. And then Little and Merrill, 1-1 sudden victory, which I gotta say I expected out of this match to go to 1-1 sudden victories. Little chose down, got rode for 24 seconds, 2-1, and then Merrill chose down, went 2-2. Merrill chose down, Little put him up at the beginning of the second tiebreaker, which made it 2-2. It was a great shot by Little. Merrill should have been hit for stalling. I don't know if he was hit for stalling earlier in the match, but at the end of the match, I do believe he should have been hit for stalling. And the thing is with Cody Merrill, whenever it's the end of the match and he's just standing there with his head down. Does he just not want any attention? I don't know. I mentioned this last time too, but I freaking love his whole thing, his whole bit that he has there. In the blood round, Gabe Arnold is an All-American. Gabe Arnold is an All-American. I'm so freaking happy for that dude. He beat Remy Cotton. I thought Remy Cotton towards the end, like he got a stall call on Arnold, which made it 4-3, and then Remy was in deep at the end. But Gabe, he eluded it. Okay, you got a freaking All-American at 197 pounds. This man's a 174 pounder. Gabe Arnold, you're the man. Gabe Arnold, you're the freaking man. All right, and you need to know that. And then he met up with McDaniel to see who goes for 7th and 8th. McDaniel controlled the match, got an early takedown, and that is what sealed the deal, okay? And it's crazy. You look at McDaniel, and you look at Gabe Arnold on the mat, and it's just like, Gabe Arnold's an All-American, and he's going against guys that are like double the size of him. That's what it looks like, because Gabe Arnold ain't tall. Okay, and McDaniel pretty tall. I don't know how tall he is. I don't have those stats. We don't give those stats in wrestling. I wish they did. I want to know their height. I know their weight. I know their weight. I want to know their height. All of them. All of them. Okay. John beat Hawks. I was hoping Colton Hawks would go and get a dub just because of the tournament he's had. I was hoping he'd All-American for it. But, yeah, John went and got it. And then Posada met John. And Posada, so John's going for 7th and 8th. Posada going for 3rd for Stanford, which, yeah, he was a 9 seed, so wrestled out of his seed. And Stanford, man, I'm still giving him love. Still giving him love. 285 freaking pounds. We go to the semifinal matchups, and we had Tay Gadiali. Wrestling Isaac Trumbull, okay? And 1-1 into the third. It was a good match. They were evenly matched. And I wrote in all caps, absolutely crazy scramble at the end of the third. And it was. These two heavyweights, they were chain wrestling like frickin' Jack Source and Aaron Seidel at the end of that frickin' third period. And Trumbull did come out on top of that one. There was a long challenge and all the things, but great freaking scrap by those two men. They were wrestling like they were wrestling to get into the finals in that third period, and they were literally. So Bastida and Ferrari. Now, Bastida's first takedown. If Bastida was wrestling this match, like he had the mindset of, man, I just want to teach this guy a lesson. And he did! Bastida beat the shit out of him, 15-6. And freaking, I've been watching Bashmania, Bash in the Brain. Been watching them, and they're great. They're great, okay? 15-6. Keith Goddard is a guy in the comment section there, and he's like, all week he's been talking about AJ Ferrari. This is the easiest money that you can put on. Keith Goddard, you lost a lot of money, bud. If you're true to your word and you spent that money, you lost a lot of money. 15-6, 15-6. And you're saying that AJ, no doubt, to the finals. He's going to beat. Nope. And I get it. We all got our takes. I am talking a little shit, though. That's what I did. I do that. Everybody, come on now, guys. All right, Keeter, Amos, met in the blood round. Keeter got a stall call on him. He had riding time, so it didn't matter. Like in the scheme of winning and losing at that time, it didn't matter. He got down 2-1. It was technically 2-2 because Keeter had riding time, and then throughout that flurry where he got the stall call, freaking heavy hips Keeter put his hips on him, And then, yeah, just he started going around on the go around, turning Amos's body in every which way. And then he finally finished the takedown. And guess what? Ben Keeter is an All-American for the Iowa Hawkeyes, with the possibility still in play to become a 4-time All-American at heavyweight. Absolutely nuts, okay? Carroll and Katka got together. 5-5 OT. An amazing scramble at the end. And Carroll came out on top, got All-American honors. Happy for Christian Carroll, especially given everything that he has gone through in his career. Doucette and Carroll got together, and Doucette won that match 1-0. So Carroll's going for 7th and 8th. Guys, I told you guys to enjoy the dog bone, and I really hope you enjoyed the dog bone, because I sure did. And I hope that you enjoy the session 5 and the finals tonight. And I will give a preview of the finals, as well as giving these All-Americans their flowers here after I'm done watching session 5. All right? How far are we behind? We're going to look. I'm about an hour behind. It's not bad. Could be worse. Have a great day.